888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
WKGN 1340. Go Vols!
You're tuned in to East Tennessee's premier sports radio call-in show. This is The Drive.
And hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another stellar edition of The Drive here on Fan Run Radio. Russell Smith punching the time clock at 3:02 on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. We are live in beautiful Sevierville at Citizens National Bank World Headquarters. And my goodness, I mean, you hear the phrase, God's country. Bob, I'm driving out here, the green, the mountains when you're coming over that hill on Winfield Dunn Parkway and the mountains open up before you. I wanted to pull over to the side of the road and cry. It's so beautiful.
It's a pretty wonderful day. Little breezy and teensy bit cool, but hardly bad. I mean, it's with the sun out like this, it feels great.
Oh, this is fabulous. Always love coming up here to see our friends. They're having a little Cinco de Mayo get together for some of the high rollers. That's why Bear and Walker aren't here today. But we'll be eating. I'm told there are margaritas.
Awesome.
I'm told there are margaritas. So we'll be partaking of that coming up here in just a little bit. But I just wanted to get up here and shine the spotlight on a sponsor that's been so good to us for so long now. Citizens National Bank, locally owned community bank that's been serving the families and small businesses in East Tennessee for over 5 decades now. And we'll tell you more about what they've got going on at their 21 area branches throughout the program here today. But yeah, I mean, it's just, we take it for granted, like what a beautiful spot we live in. I always remember, it always makes me think of this time of year makes me think of my late grandfather who, and he lived all over the world as a military man, an Air Force guy. And he always, they had settled in just outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And every time they would come to visit, he would always tell us like how much he loved driving through the mountains, and the green is just what stood out to him. We take it for granted, Bob. But I mean, this is what a beautiful day here in Sevierville.
Hey, I'll never forget when long ago when I left Los Angeles to move here, and I was ready to get out of LA for sure. And I remember flying in for the first time for my follow-up interview with my job that was bringing me here. And I just saw all the greenery and all the, the mountains. And I felt like I had gotten airlifted out of like a war zone and was heading to somewhere like very, very nice. And well, the rest is history. Lived here longer than anywhere else in my life. It's a great place.
Quite nice.
Yes.
Quite nice. And we appreciate you being here with us today. Lots to discuss on the program. We will be joined by the CGP coming up here in hour number 2. Christopher Gabriel of KMJ Fresno is going to jump on with us, and we'll talk to him about the basketball programs, their remakes. It sounds like the Lady Vols are pretty much a done deal. Who would have had Kim Caldwell finishing her roster before Rick Barnes on their bingo card? But I guess when your program is as healthy as Rick Barnes's is right now, you can be a little selective with those last spots, and that certainly seems what's happening here. Bob, you hinted at this yesterday on the show, and Danny White confirms it at the Big Orange Caravan last night. Rick Barnes in California, where he is hoping to close the deal with Juke Harris. We have felt good about that one for a while now. How good do we feel today?
I still feel good about it. I know a lot of people are like, why hasn't it happened already? Chris Lowe, my guy, said he thought it could happen this week. Well, the week's not over, so we'll see. I still feel very, very confident it's going to be Juke coming to Tennessee. You see all the mocks where he's projecting for the NBA draft, and it's really netting out at best like high second round. So why wouldn't you want to go improve your draft stock for a year and do it with a coach like Rick Barnes, who's gotten so many guys into the league? Will teach you how to even be better on defense, which is going to make you that much more versatile in the league. So I think it still happens. But man, anybody who thinks Rick is thinking about hanging it up in a 24-hour span, he was in Chattanooga for the Caravan, then flew out to Los Angeles, or Southern California, I should say, and then back to Nashville, all in about a 24-hour time frame. So he's spry, man. He's on the move. He's on a mission.
I hope to have that much energy when I'm hit. I kind of wish I had that much energy now. 45.
Me too.
No, he's all over the place, man, and getting it done. I'm sure he travels in style. He's not back there in coach like the rest of us.
No, he's not in seat 34, H or whatever.
Yeah, with the loud woman in her pajamas next to him.
No, I think he's doing okay.
What do you mean my bag don't fit?
Meanwhile, Kentucky, they're turning over every stone all around the planet.
Yeah.
We got this compliments of DR Vol. We were talking about this guy yesterday, right? Marcio Santos playing in Israel.
Oh, this is the guy for Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Yes. Mark Pope.
Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mark Pope traveled all the way to Israel to watch that cat play, and his first stat line with Mark Pope's eyes on him: 0 points on 0 of 2 field goals, 0 of 1 from 3-point range, 0 of 4 from the line.
Ooh. Oh no!
In 10 minutes. So nice work.
Maybe he was pressing.
I've been
Pope was
a little nervous.
watching him.
I don't know.
Well, I hope they get him.
Tale of two cities, right? We got our guy out there looking at one of the most coveted assets in the portal, and then Pope is in Israel in some gym with probably a couple thousand people tops.
That has got to be tough, man. I mean, you fly across the world to go to a war zone, and sit in what I can't imagine is a too comfortable gym, although maybe they've got it going on there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the guy that you came to see only plays 10 minutes and goes 0 of 4 from the free throw line. You're like, what am I doing? Maybe I'll just stay over here and coach the Israeli national team.
Yeah, that's hate to see it. And the only way it can be better is if our baseball guys go and take care of business up there in Kentucky Proud Park this weekend.
Yes.
Got to happen.
Got to happen. Josh Elander announcing the starting rotation for this weekend. He juggles it, not the way I thought he would. He does move Tegan Kuhns to Friday night. We'll see him tomorrow. I think it's pretty clear he's our ace at this point. Moving Evan Blanco from Sunday to Saturday, and Landon Mack, in what can only be described as demotion, goes from the Friday night starter to the Sunday starter.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I don't know. I think I hate seeing Blanco come out of Sunday.
Me too.
I understand the strategy and everything, but man,
what is the strategy?
I think maybe he's looking at this as a chance to go get 2 games, and
just
then
go all in and then
and see what happens.
Throw
on
caution
Sunday.
to win.
Yeah.
See, my thing is Blanco has been pitching deepest into the games. Of all our starters. And so on a day when your bullpen is probably going to be spent Sunday, why not have your guy that you're pretty sure can get through at least 5 or 6 innings for you before you have to turn it over to the bullpen, if not longer. But Josh is in our good graces right now, so I'm not going to question him too much. If it works, it works. But so you think he's just going on, hey, let's win Friday, damn it. Let's win Saturday. And then if we win the series, it's whatever Sunday. We'll certainly try to win that game. But
that's the best I can deduce. I mean, I was fully expecting, we talked about it yesterday, I was fully expecting Kuhns to move to Friday. That was no surprise at all. But then when he said, and we're going to bring Evan on Saturday, I was like, what? I got to believe that's the plan. And hey, it might work too. I mean, Landon Mack, I know it's that he scuffled this last week, but hey, he can absolutely. Could you imagine if we're talking and Landon Mack's pitching in the 3rd game for a sweep? That'd be nice.
Be pretty awesome. Be a nice time to get right too.
Yes,
for Landon Mack. So we will go in to this weekend full of hope for Tennessee. Baseball doesn't look like my Braves are going to finish off the sweep today against Detroit. Trailing 5-2 in the bottom of the ninth. Actually, it's a final now. Detroit salvages a game in Atlanta.
Who's pitching for Detroit today, or who pitched?
It's a good question. I was,
my fantasy baseball opponent has Scooble, so I was worried. I don't know when he was pitching.
he pitched yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, Framber Valdez pitched today and did a darn good job. Good, sneaky good pitching staff the Tigers have.
Tigers are good.
No, they're impressive. A lot of good young players. Kevin McGonigal, very impressive. Obviously, Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green. So, made the playoffs last year, and they're coming. They also have one of my favorite baseball names right now, Dylan Dingler.
He's on my fantasy team. He's my second
Dylan
catcher.
Dingler's in your fantasy?
He's my second catcher on my team. So yes, he's been pretty good this year.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. Hitting 247. Not bad for a catcher.
Yeah.
Big Orange Caravan rolls on. They're in Nashville last night. Danny White, front and center in the news. This is his time. He knows he's got to be out in front of the people. He's doing the interviews on the Nashville Vol Network affiliate. He's holding court on the rubber chicken circuit, sporting a new haircut these days.
Yeah,
Is that a perm?
That's what I don't know, or is it just it's growing out and he hasn't had a chance to get it cut and not enough product in it? I don't know.
You go to an event like that, you know that you're going to be doing interviews and everything. That's a haircut. Like you're not caught off guard. You're ready. That is a conscious decision. I am changing my hairstyle, mid 50s, whatever Danny White is. Like that's. You know, I said on Twitter today, Danny White's haircut is driving a new Mustang. It's online dating. It is getting out there again. A little bit of a midlife crisis.
Yeah, I saw it too. I don't know. He's a man of mystery to me right now because there's a lot of things I'm questioning why he's doing. The haircut's the newest one, I guess, but
he's style conscious, man. I mean, the guy.
Yeah.
Our last athletics director was up there wearing like 3 jackets at his last press conference.
Well, I saw in the picture you put out there, the sport coat. Maybe it was the way the lighting was. The orange. Maybe that was orange. It looked more red than orange to me. It was just kind of a weird. Just the whole thing was weird, man. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if there's a PR strategy or anything like that, but it's just I'm trying to defend this guy because he has done a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tennessee athletics is in unquestionably a much better spot than it was before Danny White got here. Now we can sit here and argue how much credit he deserves for that. How whether it's luck or whether it's moves that he has consciously made.
Yeah,
but. When I see, he's up there, and last night he comes out for the 2014 playoff, which, this is not my opinion. There's plenty of polling out there that we've done and that other sports media outlets have done. It's not popular. Fans don't want a 2014 playoff.
No.
Fans don't want an expanded college basketball tournament. Fans don't really want the entertainment district.
Mm-mm.
This stuff is being rammed down our throat. We're not being heard, we're not being listened to. And you've got these folks, and Danny White is hardly the only one. But these folks that, it's never enough for them. And you're drinking your $15 beer in Neyland Stadium with your $300 ticket. And now you're going to be sitting in a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Because we've got to tear down the biggest parking garage on campus so that we can have a Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that right next to the stadium. When you walk in, Danny White, Rick Barnes says he's got the toughest job on campus. And by that, he means, look, now that we have to pay the players and share the revenue and everything, these athletics directors are under a tremendous amount of pressure to make ends meet. And I get that. When you see Arkansas and other programs cutting their tennis teams and stuff like that, it drives home the challenges that these ADs face. But you also turn around and you're handing out raises like candy. You're continuing to build new facilities that aren't necessarily revenue generating. And I think a lot of fans are, I would think they'd be coming to the enough is enough point. We've talked a lot about how the ratings are still high, attendance is still high, all that stuff. But all you have to do is go look through Danny White's comments on Twitter to see that he is receiving a lot of backlash.
He is. And I think I've come around to, because it feels pretty inevitable that he's in charge. He's saying it's going to happen, so it's going to happen. I do think, and we've talked about this a lot, the more I think about it, it's like, man, maybe some sort of middle ground would have been ideal. I think what's really going to be frustrating, not to mention the pain points that are going to happen during the construction with all the parking issues or lack thereof. It's also, if you want to put some more restaurants and bars that are proximate to the stadium, that's one thing. I do think it's this hotel thing. I think that's the one that's putting me over.
Really?
Yeah, because first of all, they've amped up hotel accommodations all around downtown and everything else. It's not like we're hurting for hotel accommodations. Second of all, it's that whole thing we've talked about. I heard Tony talking about it today on his show about the view. You know, it's like you're obstructing this iconic view of the stadium.
Okay. I'm glad I'm not alone, because I feel like a complainer when I feel like, Russell, you're whining about something that really doesn't matter when I bring that up. But I feel the exact same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, again,
because once it's built, it's there, man. Like it's not like, oh, well, maybe this didn't work, we can tear it down. No, that thing's going up and it's going to be there for the rest of our lives. The view of our beautiful, iconic football stadium from our beautiful, iconic waterfront will never change. Like this, once that construction breaks ground, it's over.
Right.
It's done with.
Right. And I mean, again, it is the like it or not, it's the way of the world in terms of if you want to put some more venues for eating and drinking and things like that close to the stadium. I get that. I do. And you can make that work, and it can probably not tarnish the look of the stadium. That's now really what I've pivoted to. That's what's bothering me the most. Again,
okay. Yeah, I thought I was.
Yeah, short of what's going to happen in the next couple years, which is just going to be a hellstorm with the parking and redirection parking and everything else. That's the part that I'm so angry about.
The hotel thing, and I don't mind having a hotel next to the stadium. I don't mind the Danny District. It's not going to be that high. It's not going to. That stadium is so big. You're still going to be. I think it's still going to look good. But that hotel is like 20 stories high.
Right.
Like you'll almost be able to look inside the stadium from the top of the hotel.
Yep.
You can't tell me that's not going to obstruct the views of one of the. Again, I keep using this word, but it's just an iconic image of American tackle football, collegiate pro or otherwise. I mean, it's. I feel like it's a part of my life. It's a part of my soul. You drive down Neyland, you drive by it, and you see that stadium, and it just hits you in the feel goods, man. It's special.
Yeah.
And now there's going to be a Hampton Inn in front of it. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't ask me. I'm beginning to think they never will.
They won't. They don't care what we think.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Here,
but damn it, we're going to say what we think.
We are, and I've got something that I think it compares to. I'll share the comparison when we continue. Also want to get into these college football rankings that we teased a little bit yesterday, just never got to. Don't want you to think the entire show is just a couple of dudes complaining. We'll get into some football talk, where the Vols rank. A couple of outlets have us a little higher than you might have thought heading into next season. We'll hit on all that. Got some great guests scheduled to join us as well. We're live today, Citizens National Bank World Headquarters in Sevierville. Ooh, you feel that breeze. It's a little chilly on my legs.
Yeah, it's a little.
I feel like Marilyn Monroe getting the wind up her skirt all of a sudden.
That's about you, but I don't quite feel that.
I don't know why that popped into my mind, but that's what did. Stay with us. You're listening to The Drive on Fan Run Radio. We're back with more right after this.
The Drive.
105.7 FM, 1340 AM. Online at FanRun.
Back here on the Drive, Fan Run Radio, live today at Citizens National Bank, world headquarters in Sevierville. Banking with CNB has its perks. Check out their premier checking accounts. They come with these money-saving benefits, roadside assistance. Boy, that sure goes a long way. Cell phone protection, identity theft protection and restoration, credit monitoring and credit report, health savings card. I don't even know what that is, but that sounds wonderful. Travel accidental death coverage. It's getting kind of dark all of a sudden. Discounts on shopping, dining, and travel, but just the way they go the extra mile for you here with a checking account at Citizens National Bank. Find out more at cnbtn.com. Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville here. Bear back in the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios as we discuss the new Danny District, which, has got people talking again. It sounds like they're going to break ground on that. Here's the one thing when we talk about these administrators, athletics directors, conference commissioners, NCAA executives, even the politicians who are getting involved now. They're listening to the presidents, they're listening to the ADs, the people that they're listening to the TV networks. Everybody wants to cash in on the cash cow, right? They're not listening to the fans where ultimately all the money flows from. And I just can't help but wonder, and Bear, you'll like this analogy. I was thinking about it today.
All right.
I've been watching a lot of vintage 90s NASCAR stuff on YouTube, just falling into this rabbit hole. And man, I hope what has happened to NASCAR doesn't happen to college football. And let me explain. Back in the 90s, for you youngins out there, NASCAR, it had so much flavor, so much tradition, the personalities, the owners, the drivers, the tracks, the fans. It was awesome. And as more and more money flowed into it, as ESPN and ABC and Fox all realized, hey, man, let's get our teeth into this stuff. And next thing you know, okay, we're not racing at Darlington as much. We're moving away from Rockingham. Hey, let's go race in Chicago. Let's go to Kansas. Let's go to Las Vegas, California all of a sudden. And now you're not in the South anymore. Yeah. And next thing you know, you got cookie cutter tracks. You got cookie cutter drivers. And the ratings are down. And now you've got Bristol Motor Speedway here in East Tennessee. Used to be the hardest ticket in sports. Look it up. That's no exaggeration. That stadium, that racetrack went from a little track that sat about 50,000 people to over 160,000 seats 20 years ago. And Bruton Smith built that thing up in Bristol. And it was the night race there in the fall, the hardest ticket in sports, harder than the Super Bowl to get tickets to that thing. Now you have that race in that 160,000 seat Coliseum. It's about half full. And you're not going to unbuild it. And the parallel here is we've got an athletics director, Danny White, who last year was seriously talking publicly about building a third deck to Neyland Stadium. Remember that? Yeah. We're going to build another deck. And I don't know if that's needed over there, but I just wonder, Bob, like in the pursuit of more and more dollars so that we can continue to pay the administrators and the coaches what they've been making without while paying the players now, instead of just taking some of that money away, we don't want to give anybody cut anybody's pay here. Yeah. Let's just get more from the fans. I hope that we don't do to our college sports what we've done to NASCAR.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of chatter on the live chat. And to be clear on one part of it, and the invoice from Danny was saying, talking about, we spent all last year talking about people stuck in G10 for hours. It was already a disaster. They're tearing down a broken garage. Traffic flow was already not working. Get over it. We talked about this yesterday. We agree. We agree with that. And so that's why the whole thing, that's what I'm saying. Time marches on for those who are that, have that much affinity for G10. It's not going to be the way it ever was before, but I'm hopeful that that's an improvement. it's just the road to get there is going to be tough. That's all. Because I was one of the ones frustrated with the situation in the parking garage, particularly in the last couple of years.
I was with you in that parking garage once.
Yeah.
Angry Bob Baskerville, not pleasant.
Yeah. So, I mean,
the things he was saying, Bear.
Yeah.
Just,
I can imagine. I saw it yesterday. He can get fired up at a moment's notice. I mean, they're going through the same thing with Formula One's going down the same road, and it's just where they're pumping out just this homogenized kind of fake tasting thing. It's not the original. And I'm right there with you, Russ. I'm really worried that they're going to do the same thing to college football.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like we say, the ratings are high. The tickets are sold out once again. And Danny White's got bills to pay. So, he's not going to skimp out on those. We'll see how it all works out. 865-966-3435 is your phone number. If you want to get on the show today, 966-3435. All right. College football post-spring top 25 polls are coming out. They are everywhere, and Tennessee is showing up in these things. Well, we'll start where they're not showing up. On 3, post-spring top 25. Excuse me, they are in this one. Number 16 here, Bob. Number 16 according to CBS Sports.
Right.
And
then up to 20, I think, on USA Today.
Yes.
And they were 24 in their last accounting of them, so they've moved them up. And I'm wondering what
happened in spring.
What changed? I mean, we watch it closely. I just can't imagine they're watching it that closely. But maybe they saw some of the things we have seen in terms of they're picking up Jim Knowles' defense supposedly pretty well. And, but what's undeniable is there's a quarterback controversy, not a controversy, a competition. So I think that's what's going to be on everybody's mind. But yeah, it's interesting seeing us get a little bit of love. I'll tell you who's not getting love is Texas Tech for obvious reasons. They're sliding in these polls because of the Brendan Sorsby situation.
Yeah, they're number 10 according to USA Today, but that poll came out on the 29th, so that was yesterday.
But they were higher. That's the whole thing. I mean, they're 15th on the one I'm seeing on USA Today. They dropped 7 spots to 15. So
pretty precipitous fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that some Tennessee fans were so myopic the way we view our team, and sometimes we can only see the warts, right? But there's a lot of fans that think that Tennessee's going to be a lot better. Or I'm sorry, a lot of media that thinks Tennessee's going to be a lot better than some of our own fans.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Gives me a little bit of hope. I mean, it's very, very early, but yeah, for the life of me, I saw ESPN had one of these out as well, but I can't seem to locate it right now. But it was the same deal. They're showing up on, because I think on the CBS one where we're 16, I'm not sure we were even there, just.
I think we were unranked, yeah.
Yeah, after the season ended and the portal was opening and all that stuff, it felt like we were nowhere to be found.
What does the rest of the CBS poll look like, you might ask? Number 1, we'll go. Let's do a countdown here. They've got Notre Dame at 5th, Georgia at 4th, Oregon at 3rd, Ohio State 2nd, and at number 1 in the country, the University of Texas. We're doing this again, huh?
Yeah.
Texas is back.
It's crazy.
They should be. They absolutely should be at this point. You're bringing back your big-name quarterback. You get Cam Coleman from Auburn, probably the number 1 receiver in the portal. I think did they get Isaiah Horton from Alabama too?
Yes.
They got Hollywood Smothers, the running back from NC State. So they loaded up at the skill positions. They fired their defensive coordinator, who was doing fine. Bring in Coach Boom, Will Muschamp. So I don't know, man. It's you want to say you win or else for Steve Sarkisian. It's hard to imagine Texas moving on him, but that almost has the feel of James Franklin this time last year. It's like, Penn State is back. Okay, preseason number 1. This is the year they're going to do it. Maybe Texas will do it, and we don't have to go down this road. But if they don't, I could see that getting rather ugly, rather quick for Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, it's do you see some of Alex Golish's comments too? I mean,
I kind of like him, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I want to see Auburn do well, but I admire the fire and I admire the we're not asking permission approach. I'm not asking anybody to hold the door open for me as we try and get this thing. I'm kicking the damn door in.
I mean, there were some vibes with Auburn like that at the beginning of the Hugh Freeze regime, but then he started playing a bunch of golf and things went downhill. But no, I mean, anything that starts to stir up Alabama and kind of get them uncomfortable, I'm there for it. So kudos to Alex Golish. I'm with you. I don't necessarily want to see him go and be wildly successful, particularly when we're playing them. But yeah, I appreciate him trying to put his flag in the sand and say, hey, man, we're in this state too.
Not saying he will be anywhere as good, but little Signetti vibes.
Yeah.
At that press conference,
yeah,
they were asking him, your lack of success against Alabama and blah blah blah, and he's like, he kind of cut the reporter off and said, "Whose lack of success?"
Yeah,
it's like, I just got here.
Yep.
And he's, oh, you mean historically? Yeah. Well, this team, we haven't played Alabama yet.
Love it.
And so, if I'm an Auburn fan, I love it. I'll be interested to see how they do. Of course, we got them coming in, open up with Texas at home.
Yeah.
SEC portion of the schedule, and then the term trap game takes on a whole new meaning in a 9-game conference schedule.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you? First of all, you've got the Georgia Tech game. Like, we're going to treat that as a big game. Everybody's going to be up. It's our first test. It's on the road. Hopefully, Tennessee wins that game. You come back, you play Kennesaw, whatever. Then Texas comes in, mega matchup, right? I mean, it's going to be DEFCON 1 at Neyland, going all in to win that game, and win or lose. Whether it's a huge win, which it would be, or a devastating loss, which it would be, you got to turn around and play Auburn the next week. And, Golish brought his quarterback with him. So it's not like I guess it's a rebuild, but I don't think he's looking at that way. You remember how Heupel approached his first year. They had some moments.
I'm looking at that USA Today, postseason, we'll call it post-spring top 25. And we talked about where Tennessee is. You might have it in front of you, but who would you think is the third? I'll put this on Bear. Bear, who do you think is the third highest ranked SEC team in this USA Today top 25?
Third behind
Georgia and Texas.
Are you bringing us beverages already?
Oh,
let's go.
Lovely.
This
Thank
is just
you.
Tea,
I'm
right?
going to go out on a limb here and Bob and LSU.
It's not LSU. It would be. I mean, if you put me on the spot and I wasn't aware of who the answer was, I'm not sure I'd get it. Let's put it that way.
Ole Miss.
No, but they're the fourth highest ranked. The third highest ranked is Oklahoma.
I didn't even think
forget about them.
At number 7, by the way.
They're kind of lying low, man. They are so much like us 2 years ago, quietest 10-2 ever, go to the playoff and kind of whatever, bow out meekly. And they made it, but I feel like people are kind of sleeping on them. And they're probably getting the kind of love this year that we would have gotten last year if Nico had stuck around.
Yep.
It would have been like, all the same cast of characters is back.
I got a whole different feeling. Of course, I want to beat Oklahoma whenever we play them. But I heard this. I remember when John Reed went to Norman for the game there. And then I saw it firsthand when they came to Knoxville. Their fans, or at least the ones I interacted with, were very, very civilized, man. They were pretty,
They ain't been in this league long enough.
I guess so. But they're not
Okay,
they're not
remember,
they're not like the Texas fans, man. The Texas fans come in acting like they own the SEC.
They're very entitled.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma fans, we met up, we ran across a lot of them at Calhoun's on the River. We did the big remote out there.
That's right.
Really nice.
That's right.
Team.
Yeah. Still, I'd like to beat their ass.
Yeah.
When we play them.
Yeah. Missed opportunity there.
No disrespect.
Last year. No disrespect. Just want to commit physical violence against you.
That's it.
All right. Coming up, we'll wrap up hour number 1 of the show. Walker's not here.
Slacker.
Guess I got to cobble together a top 4 at 4.
Yeah. He went to work
So
out.
are we? Do what?
He went to work out.
He went to work out.
Yeah, he left right after we went on the air and said he's going to go get a workout in. And then
what?
Yeah.
At least hold on. At least you made up some lame excuse about your son. He doesn't even try to lie to us with an excuse. He just says
he's
that
calling that baseball game today. He's got to be down in McMinn County at like at 5:30.
Okay, now that's an excuse.
You know that.
You just lead with that. Just tell me that. Don't. I got to go work out. Like what? We all go, or we. Most of us go to the gym. Some of us go to the gym. You do it on your own time. You don't blow off work to go to the gym.
He's taking Bear's advice to heart. Bear was saying he had to get after it.
And not a day goes by.
All your
what? What do you mean?
Your belittling of his physical appearance has hurt poor young Walker Smith's psyche. And now he's blowing off the show so that he can go and get pumped up.
We love Walker.
You do.
You go. You go do you,
yeah,
Walker.
I guess you've earned a day. Quick timeout. The Drive. Fan Run Radio. 865-966-3435. Your phone number. We're back with more right after this.
The Drive.
Check out exclusive Fan Run video content on YouTube. Just search Fan Run.
Back here on the drive, Fan Run Radio, Russell and Bob at Citizens National Bank World Headquarters in Sevierville on an absolutely gorgeous Thursday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to the show. We lost a icon of outlaw country music last night, boys. David Allan Coe passes away, I believe, 86 years old. Wow. Made a lot longer than you thought a guy like that would make it. Probably would have set the over-under for that one in the mid-60s somewhere.
I mean, prison, motorcycle, 1% biker gang.
When I have a group of friends, we do a text thread. We've done it forever. When somebody, a celebrity or musician, athlete, whatever it may be, when they die, one of us will race to get it on the thread before the other, and then particularly if it's a musician, you try to incorporate some of their song titles or something to associate their death, basically. And so when you sent the David Allan Coe thing, I hopped on Google because I'm semi-familiar with some of his work, but not a lot. And man, when I saw some of the song titles, I sent one to you all.
There's some problematic stuff in there.
Yeah, it's something, man. It's some deep, dark stuff. So, but
he was a deep, dark guy. Man spent 22 years in prison.
Yep.
You come out of there with a certain lingo, a certain worldview.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and a certain amount of darkness.
Yes.
As you said in there, but some beautiful music as well. So, R.I.P. to the country icon, David Allan Coe. Listening to some of that on the way up here. I did enjoy. I think I sent this to a group that you're in, Bear.
What's that?
The live rendition of "If That Ain't Country."
Oh yeah.
With the cutoff shorts.
Yeah.
I'll try and paint a word picture for you here, Bob. He's up there with his band. He's got on like a bedazzled, like whatever you call it, one of those country like rhinestone jean jackets.
Yeah.
He's got on knee-high cowboy boots, and he's got shorts that are cut-off jeans that are so short that even high school football coaches are like, man, those things are too short and tight, buddy. Like, you're showing too much. But
nice.
And he had a style, man. He had a style. That ain't country. I'll kiss your ass.
Yeah, he's and then I shared with you guys last night some video of former, I guess he's back with him now, Foreigner frontman Lou Graham.
Was he like 80?
He's close to 80, and in his prime, he, for my money, was maybe one of the best vocalists in the world.
Yeah, what's up with this trend of you sending us texts of like washed up rockers who shouldn't be rocking anymore?
Yeah,
trying to rock.
Three of the biggest music snobs at Fan Run as well.
What's that?
Three of the most critical kind of music snobs at Fan Run as well.
Well, that's why I do it, because I know you'll appreciate it. Because I'd like to fancy myself a bit of a music snob as well. I think that and I thought he was sick though. I thought there was something that happened with Lou, and he's kind of on the comeback trail. But it's tough to come back when you're around 80 years old. Not sound great. Whoever posted that said he has still got it, and I was like, no, he doesn't. He does not.
I mean, David Lee Roth pulled the black and white. You think those are the original ones, Russ? That video, one of you guys sent it, of David Lee Roth wearing the black and white spandex pants at 80. It looks like something he pulled out of his closet.
David Lee Roth is rough. Have you guys seen the one of Smokey Robinson?
No.
I mean, nobody's worse than Frankie Valli.
Yeah, Frankie Valli's pretty bad. There's one of Smokey Robinson who's got to be like 140 now.
Yeah.
And he's singing in like some Vegas wine bar, and he's wearing something from the 60s, from his Motown days. And Smokey is still, how shall I put this, sensual? He's still trying to set a vibe, a certain mood with the ladies, and
the one that's tough to watch is McCartney at this point.
Yeah.
But he still, man, he gives it a go. I saw him in concert not that long ago, and I appreciated how long they were out there and everything. But it's like, and I wanted to see him. I wanted to say I had seen a Beatle perform, but man, it was.
I'll tell you
it's rough.
Him and I went to see the late great Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, one of my musical heroes, and he came to the Tennessee Theater about 10 years ago and played Pet Sounds in its entirety, and then did like a medley of Beach Boys hits. It was a great show, but one of the great pop singers of all time, just an iconic pop singer voice.
Yeah.
And he was to the point where he was just sort of kind of muttering the words to the song. Great band and everything, like the music, which is more than half the battle for the Beach Boys, was fantastic, but he was a shell of himself vocally. Willie Nelson's been doing that for 30 years. Just get up there and muttering his songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Willie didn't rag his out as bad, though. His singing style never really, he wasn't a screamer.
Didn't he get behind in taxes or something? And like he's got to work till he's dead. Between that and paying for his monthly weed bill, like Willie's got to work. He's going to be.
He got clear with the IRS.
He's going to be 150 years old up there going on the road again. Like,
yeah.
He's just going to do it till he dies.
I'm afraid you're right.
Let's get Roberto in here. Roberto, you're on the Drive Fan Run Radio. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey guys, before I get down my ADHD function hole, I just want to say something real quick. This is serious. Just want to thank your listenership and the people who follow your show for the kind words they've sent to me and my family this week. It's been a tough week, and I'm grateful for it. So thank you. Lost my father-in-law Friday. Pretty rough. But just wanted to say thanks, guys. I really mean that.
Yeah, Roberto, I'm sorry to hear that. This is the first time I've heard of that, and that's a tough deal, man.
I had you on the list, but like Steve Buscemi, I'll take the lipstick out and cross you off.
No, man. I lost
if you
my
got that
mother-in-law.
reference, you know what's up. By the way.
Yeah, we lost my wife's mother last year, so I've been there. And
right.
It takes a while, man. So praying for you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And not self-aggrandizing. It was just really, really sad and pretty sudden, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, man. But on a positive note, he hated Alabama as much as I do, and we whipped their ass this last weekend, and that was nice. And I'm all, I said it a million times, the Corleone. They've sucked me right back in, gents. I'm all in. I'm going on my birthday next week, doing the whole thing. I'm really proud of the way they're playing. This baseball team is actually hitting the baseball like they're mad at it, and they're hitting it to opposite field. And we don't have 5 guys slumping at the same time finally. And I just think that Tennessee might just be peaking at the right time. But I'll tell you, I saw that we were projected to be in that Coastal Carolina Regional. Did you see what they did in North Carolina on Tuesday?
No, I didn't know they played each other.
Yeah, they played on Berkey was on the call. They played on ESPN.
Nice.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good.
The Chance won. What was the score?
I had some family stuff, obviously, that I had to take care of. But when I turned it off, it was 9-2 in the ninth. So I guess they won 9-2. Yeah, they're a pretty good baseball team, and they did that at North Carolina, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Should be interesting. But if it is there, I get to go. I'll be down that way, so I'd definitely stop in. So selfishly, I kind of hope it is. Guys, I wonder, because I'm just catching up from a whole week of not, making a fool of myself totally on here. David Allen Coe, I just felt bad for him when he went to pick his mother up in the rain and she got run over by a damn old train.
Yeah, it's a hard life he lived.
Yeah, when I found out he was 86, I thought he was dead in the 90s. I'm not kidding. Like I say the 90s, I mean the era of the 90s. So I was surprised he's still alive. Was anybody else taken aback that he actually was alive?
Yeah. I got to admit, I thought he had died like 15 years ago, honestly, Roberto.
Same.
I mean, if you're drinking
man.
jailhouse Pruno or whatever they call it.
Yeah, he lived an interesting life, and his biography will be not safe for work, and certainly not safe for the culture as it is. Guys, I know you're hitting the brake, so just really wanted to say thanks and talk up the balls, because when you cut somebody down, you got to lift them up when they're doing good. So that's it. Take care.
Thank you, Roberto. Appreciate the phone call. We got to take a quick time out. We'll be right back with hour number 2 of The Drive next on Fan Run Radio. All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the drive underway. Fan Run Radio live today. Citizens National Bank, and in lieu of Walker Smith, I am Russell Smith with your top 4 at 4 today. We will start in the world of basketball, where Tennessee head coach Rick Barnes and his entire coaching staff yesterday visited star Wake Forest transfer Juke Harris in California. Top remaining target in the transfer portal to date, Salisbury, North Carolina native who played at Wake Forest last season. Harris is in California this spring as he goes through the NBA draft process.
I watched some video of Juke this morning.
Watch the film?
Just get a little more familiarized. I hadn't looked at any for a little while. Got to get it, man.
Reel him in, Rick.
The personification of a 3-level scorer. I mean, he shoots the 3 well and takes it to the hole well, and man, he's good. He is nice.
Oh man, I mean, we are going to have a squad one way or the other, but he takes us from a team that's sort of, in the tournament, tough out for anybody, can beat anybody, but probably not quite up to Final Four caliber unless a lot of things go right. To, like, if he joins up, then, sky's the limit. You could not only get to a Final Four, you could do some damage.
Yeah.
You're going to be in that conversation for best teams in the country. So we will continue to, I mean, Chris Lowe said that we'd probably hear good news on that this week.
Yeah.
It's Thursday.
It's Thursday, so we'll see. We'll see. I sure hope so.
Number 2, Tennessee baseball coach Josh Elander and Josh Reynolds, the pitching coach, making more changes to the starting rotation ahead of this weekend series at Kentucky. Vols going to start right-hander Tegan Coons tomorrow in Game 1. Lefty Evan Blanco moves up to Saturday. He'll start Game 2. And then Landon Mack will start the finale on Sunday in Lexington. Big moves for Josh Elander and Josh Reynolds. Josh is, if we were to, if Rick Barnes retires and we hired Josh Schertz, all our coaches can be named Josh.
Yeah, that's
you won't be able to do the thing where like, what is Josh thinking about? What Josh? Heupel?
Yeah, you'll just have to go by last
Schertz
name.
or Elander.
We go through this at RTI because we have Ryan Shumpert and Ryan Sylvia, so you can't even say like Ryan S versus Ryan A. It's you got to go Sylvia and Shumpert.
Sill and Shump.
Yeah.
I hope the pitching moves work out. Josh Elander has proven himself a tinkerer, if nothing else, this year.
I'm going to trust him. See what happens.
I noticed he kind of moved Levi. I think Levi hit like 5th or 6th in the Tuesday night game. So kind of interested to see what that lineup looks like tomorrow as well.
Do you think he's doing that stuff because there's been some people that have been a little critical that he's too much into the data and analytics stuff? I was going to say, do you think some of this is happening because of that, or do you think some of this is his feel, his gut?
Like, do I think that he's trying to, fight back against the narrative that he's too analytically driven?
Not even so much that. I'm just saying, like, what he's doing, like what you just mentioned with Levi Clark. Do you think some of that's just his, because you could argue he knows hitters and, maybe that's more his intuition than anything else.
I mean, I was going to say that I feel like it is analytically driven because Levi's starting to hit again. Like he's been one of our better hitters the past several weeks now. So he probably should move up. I think the worry is it's like, if I move him up, does he all of a sudden put more pressure on himself and revert back to whatever was causing him to slump in the first place?
Yeah.
Him and Blaine Brown. Guys that, like what Roberto was talking about, all of a sudden our guys who are slumping starting to come out of their slump and kind of makes it enticing, the possibilities for this Tennessee baseball lineup. Number 3, Major League Baseball, a lot of action going on right now. They're in the top of the 7th in Milwaukee, and the Brewers taking the Diamondbacks to the woodshed, 11-1. Brew Crew in Milwaukee. Top of the third in Sacramento. A's leading the Royals 5-2. Just started in Camden Yards, scoreless in the top of the first. Astros Orioles game 2 of a doubleheader there. Orioles won the first game 10-3 earlier. Tigers salvaged a game against the Braves in Atlanta. Detroit winning 5-2 earlier today. The Phillies won game 1 of a doubleheader against Tony Vitello's Giants 3-2. Cardinals beat the Pirates 10-5 in Pittsburgh. Walker's Reds winners today at home 6-4 over the Rockies, and the Nationals beat the Mets 5-4 at Citi Field. Tough times for the Nye Mets.
Yes.
Hate to see it. At number 4 today, the NBA playoffs continue. The Knicks and Hawks, game 6 of that series in Atlanta, 7 p.m. on ESPN. Sixers, Celtics, game 6 there in a series. Boston leads, trying to close out there. 8 p.m. on Peacock tonight, and then the late game, 9:30, it's the T-Wolves trying to close out the Nuggets without Ant. Series now 3-2. T-Wolves probably got to close it out tonight, or you think they'd probably be underdogs in Denver for a Game 7 situation without Ant Edwards, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think Lakers fans are starting to start a little hand-wringing as well. They still lead their series 3-2, but they've looked like kind of a shell of themselves the last couple games after going up 3-0.
I like seeing Reed Shepherd, who looks like the pie guy from American Pie now.
You noticed that as well.
Yeah, making a couple big plays down the stretch. Was looking for Eugene Levy in the crowd there, or Shannon Elizabeth. You see where she's on OnlyFans now?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Bear, I know you and Bob are both a little bit older, but I was like 18 when American Pie came out, and when Shannon Elizabeth showed it all,
Yeah,
mercy.
Mercy. She was okay.
Okay. Goodness. Wars have been started over worse-looking women.
Kind of set up, Russ. I thought you were going to do the quiz game with me on the players, and I had Reed Shepherd.
I was going to back up a little bit and do that, but then we got off topic here. Do you know how much money Shannon Elizabeth said she made on her first week of OnlyFans?
No idea.
20 million?
Over $1 million.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Bear, don't you wish that you could just take pictures of your ding-a-ling, put it on the internet, and collect $1 million?
I'm just hoping for a better paycheck. You know, we turn the cameras on every afternoon at 3. We ain't getting $1 million. We don't look like Shannon Elizabeth.
No.
True.
But you and
True.
Bob, a couple of handsome dudes.
I mean, we're trying to raise the what do you call it? Sex appeal of YouTube these days. Shout out to everybody watching Fan Run Sports YouTube channel.
It's a bucolic setting behind you guys. Looks good.
Oh, it's a beautiful day out here, man.
If we didn't tell you what the temperature was, we could fool you and say it's like 85 or 90 out here. Looks very, very springy.
We are at Citizens National Bank World Headquarters. They're having a shindig over here. It's going to get started a little bit later. They've got some a little early on the Cinco de Mayo front, but we got some Mexican food. I did hit up Buc-ee's here, so we'll see how this works on the old digestive tract, because I wasn't even thinking about the fare that we're going to have here, but I went with the chicken burrito today at Buc-ee's, and it was a lot, man. And it's weird because I'm sitting there, I'm eating that thing in my car. I'm like, well, you know what? This is a huge burrito. I'm going to eat later. I don't need to finish this thing. It's really not. It's not bad, but it's not that good either. And like 10 minutes later, I'm sitting there, put the finishing touches on that bad boy. just killed it. Just absolutely killed it.
What's the burrito I've had there? This like the cheesesteak burrito.
Yeah,
is
Trying to watch my red
Pretty
meat
good.
intake. I mean, I really wanted a pork sandwich, but it's like, I figured we'd be healthy. Go with the chicken burrito.
I think there's going to be some brisket in my future on the way home.
Oh, yeah?
Because I was kind of told by wifey to take care of my own dinner tonight, which I understand because I'm not getting home till probably closer to 7.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit late getting out of here. Oh, man, Buc-ee's was popping. The restroom experience completely on point.
I go to the restrooms there even if I don't have to go.
Yeah.
Just because you want to appreciate the work.
Xanadu.
Yeah.
It's amazing in there.
It's fantastic.
Christopher Gabriel's fantastic. He's going to join here in about 10 minutes from BMJ Fresno to break down the issues of the day with us right here on Fan Run Radio. Did he and Rick Barnes break bread yesterday? They were together in California in the same state.
It's a big state.
I'm sure Rick called.
I don't know if he did. It's a big state, though, like I said. So, it's tough.
Gary on the text box says, Russ, I'm still invested emotionally in football and basketball, but I'm just done with going to games. Not worth the hassle, certainly not worth the price. And that's one man's opinion. There are plenty, 97% retention rate. And look, we're, our friend Brian Hunsucker on Twitter, who is, not afraid to disagree with, it says that he's all in favor of the nanny district and everything. It's going to be great. Look, I'm not saying it won't be successful. It probably will be. I'm just saying that, first of all, I think the hotel is going to be an eyesore. It's going to take away from a great view of the stadium. And second of all, I think that it's going to be a lot of short-term headache in terms of parking and traffic and all that stuff. And maybe it'll be worth it. Hey, I'm probably not going to be in too many of those traffic jams. But my overall thing is, Bob, and I've been saying this for a while, and Danny White obviously has a different philosophy. Look, he's got that job. I don't. He has to make those tough decisions. But, man, if I'm these athletics directors, I am doing everything I can to raise more money to put in the athletes' pockets than I am to build monuments, to myself that are going to help me get a next job, which is a lot of what I see now. Hey, I realize this is a private-public partnership.
Yeah.
There's a lot of private dollars here. And I know with the Battery in Atlanta, that's a cash cow for the Braves. They own that entire land. And so that's just money in their ownership group's pockets. I'm not going to pretend to be smart enough to know all the financials of this move. Maybe it will be a boon for the University of Tennessee and its athletics department. But, man, it just seems like, again, not a lot of people responding favorably to this. And we've done the poll. We put the poll in the field again. But the last time we did the are you in favor of the entertainment district thing, I mean, it was, I don't even remember, was it 50-50 or was it skewing actually negative, like people against?
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I bet it, but I bet it was people against. It skewed that way. Like I said, man, it sounds like he's going to do it. So there's not much we can do about it. We just got to ride with it.
I am enjoying some of the JP Morgan tweets.
God.
That's fun. At first, I thought that was Diana Rossini. When I first saw that girl, I mean, they look the same. Bear, have you noticed that? This JP Morgan gal looks just like Diana Rossini.
I mean, there's definitely a little bit of a resemblance, but Diana Rossini looks a little bit different. Like the JP Morgan lady's not Italian. Yeah, I think Diana Rossini's better looking.
I think they're both rather attractive.
I mean, go ahead.
I've enjoyed some of the memes. Apparently, this woman, JP Morgan, is being accused of making one of her male underlings her sex slave, and which she denies. I guess you would deny that. I did see a meme of the Gimp from Pulp Fiction saying, "Wish me luck, guys." He's on an interview at J.P. Morgan.
I'm looking at the Daily Mail that, as they characterize it, glamorous J.P. Morgan exec accused of turning married mail broker into her office sex slave, like you just said, Russ. Reports of Viagra spiking and a litany of obscene forced acts that made the gentleman cry.
Yeah, I heard the boys were talking about this morning. There was some. She liked having her toes licked.
Is there a part of this is just the crisis of masculinity in America? I see this guy from Jamiroquai who was dating Winona Ryder. Did you see that go viral yet? And he's like,
JK.
he's complaining. Her chest is too well endowed, and she wants to make love too much. Sorry, I just can't do it.
Wow.
You got this guy, my beautiful boss, wants to have all kinds of kinky love making with me going on. There's a lot of dudes out there listening to like, dude, stop your complaining.
Well,
you're living the dream, buddy.
Guy's married, though.
Oh, the guy at J.P. Morgan was?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess that could be hard to explain to the missus.
Yeah.
Sorry, honey, I got to work late again.
She was really spiking him with. She was slipping in Viagra.
Apparently, that's what the reports say.
I just feel like that would be problematic in an office setting, walking around on Viagra.
Perhaps.
Stay at your desk.
Coastal Vol on the live chat says, seen this movie before. It's called Horrible Bosses with Jennifer Aniston.
Man. That
was a great movie.
That was both the sequel was good too.
Yeah.
Was that Kevin Spacey's last great role until he got canceled?
Could be. Yeah.
I mean, House of Cards.
Colin Farrell was so good.
Yeah, those guys were all good.
Yes. Jamie Foxx.
Oh, yeah. That was the name of my fantasy team one season. If you know what his character's name was.
All right, we're going to take a quick time out. We'll come right back. Christopher Gabriel of KMJ Fresno joins the fray when we continue next right here on Fan Run Radio.
The Drive.
For the fans. By
Back here on the drive, it's Fan Run Radio. Russell and Bob live at Citizens National Bank World Headquarters in beautiful Sevierville. So glad you could be with us here this afternoon as we welcome to the festivities our good pal Christopher Gabriel, KMJ Fresno. CG, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Russ, Bob, and the boys. You know, I heard you earlier. As you know, as a guest on the program, my job is to prep. And so I've been doing that, listening, and I heard Citizens Bank, and I thought they're broadcasting from the Phillies ballpark. That's okay. That's a little different. Russ, a couple of things. First of all, you mentioned Buc-ee's bathrooms. My inaugural time at Buc-ee's, I was so overwhelmed by the bathrooms. They seemed like going into the Four Seasons. I had them set up a chair for me, and I had a barbecue sandwich in there. It was because it's the cleanest part of the whole place, and the place is clean to begin with. But I mean, if they set up flat screens in that men's room, probably the ladies' room too. I wasn't in there. Russ, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think they'd have people hanging out in there.
You might have just given them an idea. Screens.
I feel like I did.
In the restroom. You put chairs in there. You'll have a hard time getting dudes out of there. Their wives will be outside. He's been in there 3 hours.
Well, then the wives can learn what we've been dealing with forever, and that's when they go in there and there's like a roulette game going on, and they never come out. Now, I got to take issue with one thing here. You know, I consider Bob Baskerville. Hello, Bob. I consider Bob a good friend, and I'm listening in here, and suddenly I hear Bob rather cavalierly, and frankly, it seemed dismissive, saying, and I'm quoting, it's talking about Rick Barnes. I don't think he called. I don't think he called.
You noticed that tone as well.
Yeah, there was a tone there. It was a downward inflection, and it was almost like Bob was saying, you know what, I know Rick Barnes, and frankly, Rick Barnes would not be calling CG, but that's another story. And I'm going to say, how the hell does he know? How does he know I wasn't having coffee and a scone with Rick in Santa Monica? How does he know?
Well, the only reason, and hello, CG. Love to hear from you. It's not so much that Rick wouldn't enjoy your company or your time. It's just he's out there on a strictly business trip, tight schedule, everything else, and it's a big state. That was my point. It's like I don't think that's possible.
You don't think whining and dining CG is not important Vol Nation related business?
I don't know. Juke Harris, CG, respectfully CG, but there was Juke Harris.
Well, what did he say? Who cares? I'm out here. My program's motto has always been #full service. And I'm here to help Rick Barnes, Coach Barnes, in any way that I can. And if it's to get that young man to wear the proper colors, orange and white, Mr. Baskerville, I'm all here for that.
Yes, sir. I follow that.
Christopher Gabriel, KMJ Fresno, our guest here this afternoon. And CG, if things go well with Rick Barnes, with Juke Harris, and he's able to reel him in, already a pretty strong roster that he's constructed via the transfer portal. You add Juke to this thing, all of a sudden, people are saying that this could be the most talented roster that he's had since he's been here. And some of the talented rosters he's had. That's saying quite a lot, and it's going to put the expectations sky high heading into next season.
Well, you're absolutely right. And, Coach Barnes has really gone to town on this. And, frankly, we all know that Rick Barnes is an outstanding recruiter. And we also know that he gets a certain type of player, certain type of team that he puts together. And he focuses on defense. We're not breaking news here. Offense always seems to be not an afterthought, but it doesn't seem to be as big of a consideration. But it does seem to me that something has happened from the end of the season, the way the Vols lost, got annihilated by Michigan, to whatever conversation that he had with Danny White. Obviously, lifetime contract. He can stay as long as he wants. But I feel as though whether it was White, whether it was some of Rick's assistant coaches, something happened here that it feels like, and you tell me what you think, but it feels like he's taken a different tack. It feels like he said, listen, you know what? I've got the defensive thing down. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that when Tennessee comes to town, you're going to get defensive pressure like bees swarming around your head. But we got taken behind multiple woodsheds by a team that plays with the same intensity as us, plays defensively like us, but ran circles around us offensively. Maybe I need to, even after all these years coaching, I need to take a page out of somebody else's book, because there's no other way to explain it, Russ. When you look at the offensive talent that he has brought in, I know that some friends of mine in Knoxville and elsewhere, Vols fans, have said, well, we're going to just see the same old one or two people taking a shot. I don't believe that. I think that we are going to see a different type of Vols team next year, to the extent that I think Rick's going to open it up a little bit more. I don't know if this kind of a recruiting year, in terms of the talent, the type of skill sets these young guys have, I don't know if it's Rick sort of doing an end around and signaling that this is my last year or my last year or two. And I've seen the light. We need to include something else in the Rick Barnes playbook, literally and figuratively, besides what we normally bring to the table, because there's a lot of guys with a lot of offensive skill, and there's a lot of players that are going to want to take shots next year. And if we get Juke as well, man, all bets are off. Look out, Russ.
Yeah, CG, I think I'm sitting here trying to get my arms around it, and it's a good way of getting my arms around it. We could be seeing Rick Barnes running like a 4-out offense next season, which is so crazy to imagine. But like I said, I'm there for it. And I do think, like you said, ball share will be interesting. I think a work in progress for sure. Let's talk about for a second a guy who is not returning, and I actually would counter, as much as I'd love to see him have stayed. Nate Ament not coming back actually might alleviate some of this, because I think we would have seen perhaps like a Jalen Harrelson not even follow through on his commitment if Nate had come back, and I don't know what it would have meant for Juke Harris.
Bob, I think you make a great point, and it's one that I've not heard made before, because we media, Vols fans, we're all both. We tend to look at, woe is us, it's never going to work now, everybody leaves us. But first of all, just get this out of the way, I do think that Nate needed one more year. I really do. I wish him nothing but the best. Boy, I really want him to be successful for himself, for his family, for the Tennessee basketball family, but I really think he needed another year. Having said that, sometimes the greatest things that happen in life, whether it's personal, professional, or in this case, sports teams, happen because of something like you just said. A guy leaving that ostensibly was going to be a major productive force next year, but it opens the door for other guys to say, well, hold on a second. The number one option on this team, and the guy that was going to be the focal point of this team, has now left, and that changes the makeup of this entire approach next year. I'm coming. I want to be there, and I think Coach Barnes, I think his task next year is to get a team talking like what we heard Michigan players, like what we've heard Duke players in the past on their greatest teams. Players that are saying, listen, all we care about at the end of 40 minutes is, do we have the W? I don't care if I get 5 points or 50 points or 25 minutes. And I think, Bob, that's going to be one of the challenges. And you just said as much, that Rick Barnes is going to have to get these guys, and it's going to take probably, the latter part of November, the month of December, to kind of get everybody gelling that way. But I assume, just by the coach that Rick Barnes is, the person that Rick Barnes is, that this was something that was made clear going in with these young guys. Look, you're coming here, you're going to work hard. I'm going to bust your butt like you've never had it busted before. You're going to play defense. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to utilize your tremendous offensive skills, but you have to know that you're not alone. You've got another 4, 5, 6 guys that can fill it up. And I don't care who fills it up, as long as somebody's filling it up, and we're getting more W's than L's. And I feel, without knowing, Bob, I feel like that was probably something that was communicated to every one of these guys who has come to Knoxville.
I think we sometimes make the mistake of fans and media of saying that, oh man, these highly touted 5-star NBA prospect players, they don't want to play defense. They don't want to be pushed by some hard ass old school coach, but they do. I mean, and Rick Barnes is not the only guy. Like Rick Pitino is telling guys that come into his program the same thing. Danny Hurley and Tom Izzo are telling players that come into those programs the same thing. No coach, no successful coach out there is saying, "Oh yeah, come on in. We'll let you do whatever you want. Defense, schmefense. Just save it up. Take defense off. That's just more energy for you to have on offense." Like I think these guys know that it's expected of them to play great defense when they get to the next level, and I think they also understand that the rigorous conditioning that coaches like Rick Barnes are going to put them through is only going to make them a better athlete and better prepared for whatever comes after Tennessee.
Well, that's another great point, and it can't be overstated. And I'll go all the way back to a guy that Bob and I grew up with a little bit before your time, and certainly Bear knows. We all know and remember John Wooden. And his teams, when his team started rolling, he had prolific offensive talent. But people tend to forget that the UCLA 2-2-1 full court press was impossible to deal with. And when teams did deal with it, UCLA had half court presses, half court traps that were nightmarish. They won with their defense as much as they did their offense and their transition game. That was a staple for John Wooden, and it was something that teams simply couldn't deal with. So your point is extremely well taken. I mean, you go look at Nolan Richardson, 40 minutes of hell. Yeah, the offensive pressure was there, but I mean, they were pressing you all over the court. When you go play for John Calipari, irrespective of what any of us want to say about John Calipari, he can coach and he coaches defense. You mentioned Rick Pitino. Nobody goes to play for Rick Pitino. Nobody gets recruited by Rick Pitino and his former players starting. You can go back a lot of years. Nobody says that Rick Pitino said, we're just going to have transition game and look to average 90 to 95 a game. If you're not playing defense for Rick Pitino, he is in your face every minute of every practice of every game while you're sitting on the bench. So, yeah, if a lot of these guys, Russ, they know that they've already got great offensive skills. And what are they looking for to improve their draft stock with the league? It's defense. And you're not going to go to a better coach in America when it comes to coaching defense than Rick Barnes.
It's true. It's true. The one thing we're talking about back here in Rocky Top, CG, is this kind of about face that Rick's doing, putting this roster together. You could argue that it's a guy who continues to adapt to the changing needs in the modern college game. Or is it a guy who's doing that, but he's doing that because he knows the end is in sight for him? And it's a little bittersweet to even say that, but I'm wondering if that's crossed your mind at all.
Yeah, I was alluding to that just a little bit ago, Bob, and I do think it's a little bit of both. I do think that Rick sees the end coming, and it's been a glorious career for him. No, he hasn't had the marches that he's wanted, but he can't win in March is silly because he's won a lot in March. He just hasn't gotten to that next level. But, Bob, I go back to that Michigan game, and I think looking at Rick's body language, you know him infinitely better than I will ever know him at a distance. But looking at his body language and watching him watch Michigan, watch their players, watch how things unfolded, I felt like that game more than any other gave Rick a thought that goes to your point that we might need to evolve a little bit here. An old dog doesn't. What's the phrase about an old dog and new tricks and what have you? Rick Barnes, for all the things that people want to criticize him for, nobody will ever say that man isn't an elite mind. He is an elite mind. He's a very funny guy, and but he knows how to coach. You don't win the amount of games that he's won without knowing how to coach. And I would argue based upon how we've seen him recruit and bring guys through the portal, fellas, that he knows how to adapt. And maybe some fans will hear this and say, well, it's taken him a little too long. Well, that's one school of thought, and it's a fair statement. You can certainly make that argument, but you can also say that part of the reason that he's won so many games is because he's made little tweaks to how he approaches the game over the years. They don't always stand out in the course of a game, in the course of a season, but you simply don't win as much as he's won without at least being able to adapt. And I do think, about to your ultimate question here, I think if anything, I lean more into he is understanding that he needs to evolve a little bit and bring more offense, a lot more offense, a lot more focus to offense if he's going to get to that next step. And at least on paper, and I mean, paper's as good as long as it'll burn. I mean, on paper, you look at this team, you look at this roster, you look around the country, and you say, these guys, if they come together, they could do a lot of damage. And listen, admittedly, I've said that before about different Tennessee teams. Sometimes it came to fruition. Sometimes it didn't. But this team, especially if they get Juke, and I mean, who knows, man? There's a lot of talent on this sheet of paper that I have in front of me.
Talking with Christopher Gabriel, KMJ Fresno this afternoon. CG, last thing from me. A lot of talk on our airwaves this week about Danny White. They're doing the Big Orange Caravan where they barnstorm around the state and meet and greet with fans and stuff like that. And everywhere they go, stick a camera in front of his face and ask him, what's going on in the state of athletics. He's building the new entertainment district downtown. He's talking about he's in favor of its 2014 playoff, which is not broadly popular when you talk to college football fans. They're expanding the NCAA tournament now at this point. Danny White's got a new haircut. It's got a gym membership. It's dating a college student. It is driving a new red sports car. What do you make of Dr. Danny White, who has been so successful here in raising the profile of the athletics program, but suddenly finds himself in the crosshairs of a segment of Vol Nation and a growing segment of sports fans across the country? I'm sure you see it, the sports you cover out in California as well, who are like, listen, man, enough is enough. I can't afford to go to these games anymore. I know you're coming in for the LSU weekend. I'm sure that's costing you a pretty penny. It is getting pricier and pricier for regular folks to follow their teams.
Yeah, boy, you said a lot there, and I think you're on point. And let's take this step by step. Number one, the job of an athletic director is to raise money. That's the first job right off the bat, is to get money coming into an athletic program. When Fresno State hired Garrett Classy, a guy who has spent time at Nebraska, Alabama, Oregon, among others, he was brought here because he's a revenue genius. And we've already seen the results of what he's doing here. That's the first job of an athletic director. Fans can argue and complain and debate all they want, but that is the job. I've interviewed too many, so have you, and that's what they're going to tell you. As far as the entertainment district goes, I can make a case for it and against it. I will tell you flat out, I'm for it for a lot of reasons. I don't like the fact that it's going to cut off concourse views on the south on the south upper deck, but we started losing views when they completed the upper deck in the south end zone to begin with. So that started to go away. I don't like a hotel rising above the south end zone. I don't like that. The G10 lot, that's been a lot that I've spent a lot of time in over the years and had a lot of great tailgates. I like that. But here's the thing. And I've had people come at me on a personal level. It's like, hey, I'm just giving you my opinion. Tennessee is trying to stay largely ahead of the game here because this shouldn't be a newsflash. This is coming to most schools, fellas. I mean, it's not just that I wrote this on X. It's not just coast to coast. It's going beyond the West Coast. The University of Hawaii has elaborate plans for a magnificent zone, entertainment zone. Schools, this is going to be par for the course. Just like you see party decks. You see all the schools having those now. You see luxury suites. You see the increase of that. You see club seats. You see themed areas where you see stadiums now getting smaller in size, not by a lot, but by a couple thousand seats here and there, because they're trying to make the experience more intimate. At the same time, finding ways to bring in more money. I don't have unlimited resources. I don't like the fact that it's gotten so pricey that average, everyday, middle-class fans can't get in. I mean, listen, I'm going to be lying if I said I get into games the way you get into games. I get in because I can have a press pass. But if I'm flying somewhere, if I decide I want to go see a Syracuse game, Syracuse taking on Miami up at the Dome, I need to buy a ticket. And it's going to cost me as much as it's going to cost anybody else. The rising cost of athletics is brutal. It's affecting everybody. It's going to get worse. It's like gas prices out here in this state. I paid $5.69 a gallon the other day for gas. So a lot of this, Russ, I don't like, but I will say that Danny White, for all the criticism that he's taken, and he's taken a lot, I still like the guy, much the way I feel about Kim Caldwell. She has been savaged by Vols fans, and man, I hope she gets the last laugh because what she's gone through has been brutal. But I thought Danny made the right play. We can be cynical and say, of course, Danny's going to say he supports her because he hired her, but no way she was getting fired. Similarly, Danny, last I checked, is in very good graces with, as a starting point, Donnie Plowman, because he's doing what he was brought here to do. I mean, I don't like every move that he's made. I don't like the fact that at times, it seems as though the average everyday fan has been disregarded by him. I don't like that. But I do like the fact that he is looking ahead. He's trying to put Tennessee Athletics, which is a big brand. It is a major brand. And he's trying to say, we are going to stay ahead of the curve here. And if we're going to do that, we're going to do what you're going to see most, if not all, Power 4 schools doing sooner or later. And that's having an entertainment district. The one caveat with Tennessee, fellas, is that we have a glorious setting. We are on the banks of the Tennessee River, the Smoky Mountains in the distance. It's wonderful. And it was great when we used to go in there, and it was just one deck at the south end zone, and you could see the river. But unfortunately, those days are gone. And a lot of those cool things we've had to give up. But why ultimately are we going to a Tennessee football game? We are going to watch Tennessee play football against the SEC and hopefully great non-conference opponents that aren't named Akron, Toledo, or Eastern Michigan. And I think part of the cost of doing business is now having to have something like that. Even if we don't necessarily like it, we aren't alone, we weren't the first, and we will not be the last.
Hear, hear, well said, CG, and I stand with you as we stand behind Kim Caldwell, and shame on these scoundrels like Bear and Bob who have been savaging her at every turn since the end of the season. It's an absolute disgrace and an outrage.
It really is. It's an outrage. I just say this real quick. I think that she had a terrible year, obviously a horrible February and March, and she had to do something drastic. And none of us can know what it's like walking in her shoes. She may not follow social media. She's on it, but she has heard the savagery that she's had to deal with. And you know what? She brought a lot of it herself. She had some missteps. There's no doubt about it. It would not hurt her to have a course, figuratively speaking, in how to deal with post-game pressures and so on. But she had a monumental task, and I give her credit for saying, I'm going to dig in, and I'm going to rebuild this roster in a way that I think is going to be working and that Pat Summitt would be proud of. And now we have to see if the 14 or 15 players she has, if that's going to be different. And if it isn't next year, then maybe something different is going to happen. But I still stand fully behind her. And by the way, can I say one more thing real quickly? Perspective, fellas. I cover a team out here, Fresno State baseball, that is 11-29-1. Men's basketball at Fresno State went 13-19 this year. They were an embarrassment. They were lucky to get 1,000 fans in a 15,000-seat arena. Softball is 21-22. We may not like everything that's happening, or we feel that the results should be better in Knoxville, and they should be, but at least we are not Fresno State. And lest anybody wants to say, well, that's Fresno State. Last I checked, Fresno State's Division I, and make no mistake, Fresno State baseball has won as many national championships as Tennessee. Fresno State softball has won one more national championship than Tennessee. I'm no Fresno State fan, but I think sometimes, and this is my point, fellas, and I'll close with this, that we as Tennessee fans, I'm not Tennessee media, but I am a media guy. I think sometimes we need to have better perspective when we are ripping people A to Z and back to A. We need to look around the country and say, all things considered, can we do better? Yes. But are we doing a hell of a lot better than a lot of other schools? Yes, we are.
A dose of healthy perspective from the great and powerful Christopher Gabriel this afternoon. CG, we love you, brother. Thank you so much. Everybody go follow him on X at CG Program. You can hear him weekday mornings on KMJ Fresno out west. Christopher Gabriel, thanks so much.
Love you, brother. Thanks for having me on as always.
Thank you, CG.
Christopher Gabriel, one more time here on the program. Got to take a quick time out. Back to wrap up hour number 2 of the show right after this.
The Drive.
Miss any of your favorite fan run show?
Run Radio, the drive continues on a Thursday afternoon edition of the show. Is today the last day of April? Is this a 30-day month?
Correct.
I've never learned that. That's one thing I don't know. I don't know. Like, I know there's a 30 days, half November, December, or whatever. Like, I never learned that. I don't know the thing.
Yeah, tomorrow's May Day. Big celebration.
Oh, man. I don't have my soundboard in front of me.
No, you don't.
All right, comrade. How do you celebrate that? Are you watching the Hunt for Red October and pulling for the Russians?
To find Marco Ramos. No, I mean, what it reminds me of is being at Bearden Elementary School. We had this big May Day. May Day was always like you knew school was almost over with. Almost there to summer. So May's one of my favorite months of the year.
He's more of a white nights guy.
Mikhail Baryshnikov and Gregory Hines.
Reference.
Yeah, that's
a great movie.
The ballet.
Yeah.
Baryshnikov.
Yeah. Well, it takes place in Russia.
White
Gorky
Knight.
Park.
Yeah.
Russia's a weird land to me. I've just never done. I'd like to do a deep dive there and learn more. It's very scary to me.
I've spent time there.
That's right.
A lot of windows there.
My oldest.
You go to Moscow?
Yes. Moscow region, as they call it.
When did you go there?
Back, it was around 2000.
So, I mean, not like 10 years after the fall of communism. Was it growing up and everything? Like, because you're older than me. Like, was that weird flying into what did Reagan call it? The Empire of Evil?
Yeah, I don't
evil
know.
empire?
It was just a very economically depressed place, and we were not welcome for sure. You could
really
go that was absolutely the vibe.
It's pretty wild seeing the Onion Domes.
Did you feel?
Yeah, we had to go get a passport for my son. As a newborn, and we were in there, and we got so many looks like, do your business and get out of here. It was.
Did you feel like in danger?
No. Although I'll tell you what,
just very much like the ugly American.
Yes. Well, as a matter of fact, what they said was we were hoping we were going to take Alex home on our first trip. And they said, no, you'll need to come back. And I was, we were like, oh God, we'd really love to do this. And they were like, you're Americans. It's literally what they said. They go, you're Americans, you're rich. You can afford it.
They're basically extorting you.
Yeah. So, but
how did you get hooked up with a Russian adoption agency?
There was an agency here in the States in Asheville, Christian Family Services or something like that, as I recall. And and so we got connected with them. But what I was going to say was when we flew over, you had to have the first installment ready, which was $10,000. And it had to be in American currency. So I had to fly with that strapped in a money belt to me.
No.
And
in a money belt? Are you serious?
Yeah. Well,
you're not going to put it in a bag over.
No, I'm just saying while I flew and stuff, I wanted it,
on
close to me. Yeah. But when we got so it was not just us. There were other families. There were like 5 other families.
Okay.
And so we went to the
strength in numbers.
It's a travel agency was where this adoption agency in Moscow was set up. And never seen a travel agency before with armed guards with machine guns at the door.
Wow.
And it's because we're walking in with all that money
yeah.
and everything else. I mean, because if you multiply that, there's $50,000-$60,000.
Well, they probably have street gangs and stuff that know that Americans are coming over to, do things like that. And I mean, it probably is a little dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad it's over.
Yeah. Bear's very jealous of your time in the motherland.
Bear just smiled during that whole discussion.
Was so wistful.
Yes.
Stay with us. Hour number 3 of the drive coming up. It's Fan Run Radio. Back with more after this.
Five's Top 5 at 5.
Quitting time on your Thursday, 5 o'clock here on Fan Run Radio. I'm Russell Smith alongside Bob Baskerville. We are live this afternoon at Citizens National Bank Global Headquarters in Sevierville. So good to be here. We'll tell you more about what they've got going on coming up here in just a little bit. The Top 5 at 5 brought to you this afternoon by Citizens National Bank. And we'll stay on basketball for number one as Tennessee head coach Rick Barnes and the entire Vols coaching staff was in California yesterday, meeting with star Wake Forest transfer Juke Harris. And now we wait. The pitch has been made. The ball, as they say, is in Juke Harris's court. Bob, are you worried at all about Michigan coming in and gazumping us, as they say in European football?
For Juke? No, I don't. I know that
It's the NBA or Knoxville.
I really believe that. I know there's a lot of people saying, they're doing the, Larry Ellison, Michigan alum, richest man in the world, yada, 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 and they can name their price. I don't buy it.
I guess it pays for Juke from his standpoint. Like, might as well string it out, let Tennessee get itchy, hey.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll milk another $1 million out of them.
Yeah, you could be right. I don't know. I'm gonna remain confident. I know a lot of people are worried that if we don't hear it this week, like Chris Lowe was portending, that it's going to be trouble. I don't know. I'm going to believe it's happening. I really am. I'm there.
Number 2, Lady Vols announcing the signing of Harrisum Koulibaly today. She was Auburn's leading scorer as a freshman last season. She becomes the 12th player out of the portal to sign her paperwork. So we're waiting on one more. I mean, they're pretty much full at this point, right? They got another commitment last night, so they're just announcing the signees.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little more about that with Ryan Sylvia later this hour, just to learn more about this team, because it's a lot, man. It's a lot to try to keep track of. She moved. Say what you want. She moved really, really quickly putting this together, and building a team essentially from scratch.
I'm sure the Lady Voluntary Reaction crowd,
yes,
will be eagerly anticipating Ryan Sylvia's come. No joke. And by the way, Walker's not here, so we got to get him to come in and do the cutout here, because Sylvia's appearances on the show go viral every time we have him on.
Yeah.
And I there's part of me that's like, should we be talking this much women's basketball? But every time we have him on and we post that video to YouTube, it gets by far more views than the other segments we do, whether it's
All right, looks like we've lost the guys for just a minute here. We're going to go to commercial break while I try and get reconnected with them. You're listening to The Drive on Fan Run Radio.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess, but isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold wave filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. Come on, grab a pack. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavor. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
All right, and we're back here. Fan Run Radio. The drive continues. Sorry about the technical kerfluffle there. Bear, what was the last thing you heard before we were so rudely interrupted?
I don't know because
did we get to the Koulibaly stuff?
No, I don't think so.
We'll start there. Lady Vols announced the signing of Harrison Koulibaly. She was the #1 freshman for Auburn last year. The roster is pretty much full. We've talked about Koulibaly before, but UT just going through the announcement phase right now of the various players that they've got.
Yeah, and what I was saying before we lost the signal was we're going to learn more about that team from Ryan Sylvia here later in the hour because it's a lot. Kim has been, say what you want, but man, she's been cooking. She put that roster together very, very quickly. A lot of unknowns, but Ryan's been following that closely, and also. I think what we were talking about was how much interest there is in this stuff. We're seeing it in views when our segments covering Lady Vols come out. And I was saying, Rocky Top Insider, I get daily feedback every day on how our articles are doing on the site. And for a couple weeks now, in the top 10, it's not unusual to see multiple pieces about the Lady Vols.
People love their Lady Vols, man.
Yeah, it's definitely been a story.
Gets clicks.
Yep.
#4, Major League Baseball. Interesting doubleheader happening up at Camden Yards this afternoon. The Orioles clobbered the Astros in Game 1, 10-3. The Astros returning the favorites, 10-1 Astros in Game 2, and only the bottom of the 4th inning there, so a long way to go. A's leading the Royals 5-2 as they play in the bottom of the 6th there in Sacramento. Earlier today, it was the Tigers winning at Truist 5-2 over the Braves. The Phillies playing a doubleheader with Tony Vitello and the Giants. Phils won Game 1 there 3-2. The Cardinals beat the Pirates 10-5 in Pittsburgh. Walker's Reds picking up the win 6-4 over the Rockies in Cincinnati. And the Nationals beat the Mets 5-4 at Citi Field earlier today. #4, NBA playoffs continue tonight. 7 p.m., Knicks, Hawks, Game 6. New York leads the series 3-2, trying to close out John Reed's boys in the ATL. We'll see if they can do it. Favorite Knicks of all time?
Of all time?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm dating myself. It had to be Walt Frazier. Loved him.
Walt and Clyde.
I used to.
It's a good one, Bob.
Pumas were the shoe back then, and that's the Puma Clydes. That's what they were called.
For me, it was the 90s, and as a Jordan bro and Bulls fan, like I didn't really like the Knicks But now looking back on it, I do miss that time. There was a great book that came out last year called Blood in the Garden about the 90s Knicks and Pat Riley and John Starks. Man, like I know those were Ewing's teams, but when I think of that era, I think about John Starks and that dunk he had over like all of the Bulls on the baseline and getting into fights with Scottie Pippen and all that stuff. I mean, that was just a great era of basketball.
By and large, I hate the Knicks, though. They've always been a thorn in the Pacers' sides in the late 90s. And
I mean, how much ecstasy were you in when Reggie Miller was tearing down their kingdom?
It was unbelievable. But then we went and lost the series in the end.
They lost the series where he did the choke sign?
We went up 3-2, and so I thought, we got it. We're going back to Indy. We're going to win the series. We lost Game 6 and then lost Game 7 in New York by like a point.
And they had the Bulls beat one of those years, and Ewing like missed a bunny in the lane. It rimmed out on him or something.
No, that was Indiana. That was against Indiana.
Was that to go to the finals?
Yep, that was Game 7. And Indiana won the game, went to the finals, lost to Orlando that year. No, not Orlando, to Los Angeles, to the Lakers.
Was that the beginning of the Kobe Shaq dynasty?
Yep.
Rick Smits?
Yep.
Man, those were some good teams, no doubt. 76ers Celtics. Game 6 of that one in Philly. Philly trying to stave off elimination. Boston leads that one 3-2. And we talked about this one earlier. The Timberwolves, life without Anthony Edwards. It's difficult.
Yeah.
They lead that series 3-2 over the Nuggets, but the Nuggets are a 6.5-point favorite tonight in Minnesota.
Yeah, if that thing goes to a Game 7, it's I think we know what's going to happen there. So Minnesota better get right tonight.
All right, and Walker helped compile this for me, so I'm going to hit the kicker he gave me, if I can find it. Crowds are flocking to San Francisco's Pier 39, including some from across the country, to catch a glimpse of a rare visit to the city. A massive sea lion. The stellar sea lion, dubbed Chonkers, has been, what is his name? What's so funny about that is named Chonkers.
I think it's kind of cool.
I'm familiar
He's been
with
seen lounging among the much smaller California sea lions on the docks in recent weeks. Stellar sea lions can grow up to 11 feet long and weigh as much as 2,500 pounds, making them about twice the size of California sea lions. Visitors have been gathering at the pier every day in hopes of catching a glimpse of Chonkers.
Chonkers.
You think Tony Vitello will find time to go and see if he can see Chonkers down there at the San Francisco Pier?
I don't know.
You ever spend time in San Fran when you're in your time in California?
Well, my brother and his wife live there, and I've seen him, been out a couple times, but it's usually I've incorporated business where I'm out there for business and then spend some time. But
you ever go to Candlestick?
No.
Oracle Park?
No, I've never been to a professional sporting there.
Really?
No.
Well, you make a trip, drive field trip, meet up with CG, San Francisco, see our old pal Tony Vitello.
I'm telling you.
Hey, Tony, we brought sandwiches.
And at the risk of offending CG today, I really meant that. It's like once you live in California, when I lived there and worked there for 7 years, I think I saw my brother once. And it's because when you go from like Los Angeles to San Francisco, that's like a 7 or 8 hour drive. I mean, it's just such a massive state. Just covering LA proper, like the Southland, as they call it, that could be like a day-long
ordeal.
trip. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That said, I don't miss it.
One other note, Walker had passed my way. By the way, the Top 5 at 5 brought to you by our friends at Citizens National Bank, where we are today, here in beautiful Sevierville. 21 branches serving Knox, Sevier, Jefferson, Hamblin, and McMinn counties. They've got in-store branches located at local grocery stores that are open weekdays until 7 p.m. for convenient banking. They're also open on Saturdays until 2 p.m. Visit cnbtn.com for a branch near you and show them some love, man. They have been the wind in our sails for years and years here on The Drive. Did you guys see where we offered a scholarship evidently to Darwin Walker's son?
I did see that.
Don't you, man? All those 90s dudes, like their kids are matriculating now. Kevin Simon's son out there, Darwin Walker, his son, 2028 edge rusher Davis Walker, says he's got a scholarship offer from the Vols. Of course, his dad was defensive lineman on the 98 team, was also, I don't know if you guys remember Darwin Walker's story, but I want to say he transferred here from NC State, and he set, it was either the bench press or the squat record here. He might have been one of the first persons to, I think he benched 500 or squatted 600 pounds or something like that, like some insane-o number. Like it was a school record at the time. And, oh, wow. Now it's a party. They're always trying to get me drunk up here. Every time I
nice.
Yeah, we're on the air. We're doing the thing. It's The Drive, 3 to 6 every afternoon. Here, check this out, Bobo.
Yeah, Bear. There's like just a big, massive margarita in front of us.
I've been up there. The Citizens National Bank people know how to throw a party. They really do. Darwin Walker was
that's not a virgin margarita either.
No.
Afternoon margs. Darwin was a problem for sure, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was also like he was Dobbs before Dobbs. He's owned his own engineering firm.
Oh wow,
brilliant!
Played for the Eagles for was running his own business while he played for the Eagles. I think he won Super Bowls there. Like he was a great player and a really intelligent guy. All right, now what's this?
Now, what is that?
Sangria.
Thank you.
All right.
Is that speaking to my manliness or no?
Yes. Well, I mean, it looks good.
No,
are you feeling judged?
Nothing.
All right, we can trade if you want.
I mean, a guy doesn't typically go say, "Hey, man, hit me with some sangria."
Well, you're also. I mean, that was the most feminine sip I think I've ever seen. You had the pinky finger up.
I'm not drinking it out of a straw.
Like, oh my god.
I mean,
go ahead and use it. I'll use the straw, man.
No, that's
big straw guy.
Tell you what, you don't drink liquor drinks with a straw, man. Come on. I had to teach my wife that, man. That's
this guy does.
Wow.
You got this cactus glass too. I mean, this is
yeah.
They're going all out. All right, Citizens National Bank, where we are. We got to take a quick time out. When we continue, Ryan Sylvia, RockyTopInsider.com, the latest on Kim Caldwell's Extreme Makeover Lady Vols edition. We'll talk to Sylvia when we continue next, right here on Fan Run Radio.
The Drive.
Catch up with all things Fan Run.
this afternoon. Bob, it's been made clear to me that they have beer as well in there, just in case you were wondering.
Okay.
Also, they have a huge bowl of guacamole in there that just you got to go check it out, man. It's about to go down out here in Sevierville.
Yeah.
It's about to go down with Ryan Sylvia, RockyTopInsider.com. He's joining us on the show this afternoon. Good afternoon, Ryan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, but not as good as it sounds like you guys are having. Sounds like a good time out there.
It is a good time. We're getting Cinco de Mayo early out here at Citizens National Bank. We appreciate them having us out here today. It's a lovely afternoon out on the patio. And, Ryan, we've been following the makeover for the Lady Vols roster very closely here. Are they done right now as far as adding players? Are they full on the roster?
They're full. They're at the roster limit of 15 that they introduced, I guess, with that rule change with the little walk-ons and stuff that they do. So they're full. They have 14 signees, and then the one still verbally committed, but expectation is that signing comes sooner rather than later. So no roster spots being held. You see a lot too, where you'll have programs keep one or two open to see what happens. And now Kim Caldwell's loaded this thing up, and it's a pretty deep team, and it's got all 15 there.
What do you make of it? What she's been able to get done? I mean, it's again, we talked with you about it. Everybody left, right? You had one signee basically, and then everybody else is new on the team. Obviously, she's under some pressure to win games here next year. It's not a stretch at all to say that her job is on the line. What do you think she was able to do in terms of this roster that she's built? Will it be enough to get her? She was competitive this past season, but it was just a train wreck. Is this an improvement upon where she's been?
It'll be interesting because it's built in really a completely different way. And Kim talked about that during the whole Big Orange Caravan that they do, where she said, this year it's more so what are you going to do for Tennessee rather than the pitch being what is Tennessee going to do for you. And so I think the goal with that is probably not going to land as much star-studded talent, and they still have some big hitters in this class, but it's not going to be the Janiyah Barkers of the world that were one of the highest-rated transfers in the portal last year. But you're going to get people that maybe are more so willing to buy into what she wants to do. She's not going to concede on running this system. So if you're going to run it, you got to get 15 players that aren't going to waver in it. And that was obviously a big storyline at the end of last season as well. As she's talking about, I gave them a plan B. I gave them an out. You can't do that. There doesn't seem like there's any indication there's going to be any plan B given to them and that any of these players want a plan B. They seem like they're pretty bought in on what Kim Caldwell's trying to do. Now the question is, one, is that system going to work? It worked in year one. Is it going to work in year three after it didn't really work in year two? And then two, did you, while finding players that want to play like this, did you still load up in a way that you can compete in the SEC talent-wise because it's the greatest conference in women's basketball?
Hey, Ryan, one of the things I saw, first of all, you alluded to it a little bit, was Kim basically saying she got too caught up in chasing the rankings of players. And, we've seen this happen from time to time with both men's and women's teams where you can put a bunch of things down on paper and chemistry is half the battle and you don't have it. And it sure felt like we saw a lot of that this season. We're hoping we don't see that for the men's team next year because it's going to be a lot of new faces. But the other thing that I found interesting, and I just saw the headline on it, you might want to elaborate on it or be able to, was Danny White actually addressed the topic of why he felt Kim deserved another year. Is that correct? That did come up?
Yeah, a reporter asked him pretty directly, with how things went, what, I guess, paraphrasing, what went into the decision to bring her back. And his response was more so, you look at the wider picture. He doesn't want to get caught up in one game or one season. And he liked what he saw from Kim Caldwell when he hired her. He liked what he saw from her in year one. So one bad year in year two, he didn't want to pull the plug on that quickly, because that would be a pretty quick plug pull. Now, things went really badly at the end of last year. We all know that, but it would be a pretty quick pull there if he did go through with that decision. So that was mostly what he said was, you don't want to get too emotional about it. He, hit the lines of, you hate losing. No one gets more mad at losses than me, but you don't want to get too emotional about it, and that he's excited about this upcoming roster. So did he give the most, direct, honest answer? I mean, that's, I guess, up for discussion. It was a little, I guess, a politically correct statement from him, but that's exactly what you'd expect. And it does give you a little bit of an insight into, I guess, what he was looking at.
Ryan Sylvia, Rocky Top Insider, our guest here this afternoon. Ryan, we've been talking about the men's program, speculating on what a starting lineup will look like and where does Juke Harris slot in, who's going to be the point guard, all this stuff. And I know it's a little bit different with the style of ball that Kim Caldwell has played before and hopes to play again as far as the line changes and all that. But if you had to take a guess at, if not a starting lineup, just like who the key players on next year's team are, who are the 3 or 4 players that she's really depending on that are going to play 20, 30 minutes a night out there and that are going to be the quote-unquote stars of the team?
So part of that question, I think, depends on who's healthy, because it is a roster now that you're going into next year, and there's multiple players coming off of season-ending injuries. And I think most of them, if not all of them, are knee injuries too. So, Kayleen Schmeichel, someone from Maryland who could be the best player on the team next year, what does the timeline for her look like since she suffered an injury during last season, an ACL injury that held her out for the rest of the year? So if she's healthy and she's good to go, even if maybe she misses some time up front, by the end of the year, she's someone I fully expect to, be in that conversation of, hey, this is your best player, this is your leading scorer. She's done it at the Big Ten level for 4 years of her career. That would make a lot of sense. I think someone else that you look at as far as like they're going to be playing a lot next year, or at least as much as the system, I guess, allows, is Fatmata Jana, Texas A&M transfer. She, I think it was led the country in defensive rebounds 2 years ago. Now, that was at St. Peter's, but this past year at Texas A&M, she was like 4th in the SEC, just a tick under 10 rebounds a game. For a roster that doesn't really have that much height, it's not going to stay. If you lined it up against a lot of the other SEC rosters, they're going to be giving up some height. You need to find a way to still control rebounds and be competitive in that aspect. Jana is someone that I think they're going to really have to rely on to kind of carry that load. Aaliyah Moore, someone else, a Texas transfer, like 3 or 4 years ago, she was really good, an all Big 12 member, which I guess shows you that it's been a couple of years since it was when Texas was in the Big 12. But she's just battled so many injuries. So what is her season going to look like? She missed all of last season. So does that mean she's recovered now and good to go? Or is there still going to be some lingering stuff? Because if she's healthy, she's someone else that's kind of in that conversation. Kennedy Fauntleroy, East Carolina guard. She's bounced around everywhere. She's been productive everywhere she's been, though. She could be one of those starters at guard. Those are 4. Gabby Minus, the 4-star freshman, top 50 prospect. She could find her way in that fold pretty early, just as one of, I guess, the more talented players on the roster, just doesn't have the experience. Harrison Koulibaly, Auburn transfer, was really successful as a freshman last year at Auburn. She's someone to look for. And then I think the last one I'll name is Riley Turcoff, Georgia. I guess a shooting guard, might play a little bit of the 3, just a really good spot-up shooter that should fit in well. So I guess those would be, I don't know, the 5 or 6 players that are at the top of the list for me in this class. But, I mean, even a Naomi White, the Northern Arizona guard, she scored 20 points a game last year. Now, it was at the mid-major level. But if that can translate even to give you 12, 13 points a game, you'll certainly take that as well.
Ryan, I've been looking at this, and I don't want to come off as too skeptical, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. And that is, in this roster construction, and she did it in, really quick fashion, which is in some ways really impressive. But some of these players too, Shaylin Steele comes from Penn State. She averaged 1.8 points a game. Riley, the last one they added, Riley McAlusky from West Virginia, averaged 4.7 points a game. There's a lot of these, and I guess maybe we're a little spoiled when we look at who the men are bringing in from the portal. You got all these double-figure scorers, et cetera. The reason I bring this up is you need depth, but also the way her system is structured, where you've got line changes and everybody's playing, a decent amount of minutes. I don't know. I'm just wondering, again, it's very preliminary and very provisional, but what's your take in terms of the what you're seeing and hearing in terms of the overall talent level and how that really stacks up against the SEC?
I think that's a fair concern. Like, I don't think anyone's going to argue this is a better roster than what South Carolina is going to have next year, what Texas or LSU or those perennial powers in the SEC are going to have next year, just, on a one-to-one line-them-up basis. They're going to have better rosters. But I guess you would look back to Kim Caldwell's first year, and that roster was not better than, UConn's, and they beat UConn, or Texas, and they played Texas close, or a lot of these SEC teams that they played closer beat in that first season. So you kind of see both sides of it, but I completely understand the concern. I'm not going to act like there's no reason to be a little worried about that when you're talking about, Lady Vols basketball, which is supposed to be competing for national championships, SEC championships. But yeah, at the same time, you do need to fill out a roster. So not everyone that you bring in is going to be a 15-point per game scorer. You're going to have to bring in some players that, maybe they're at the end of their career and they want to join a prestigious program. They like what Kim Caldwell is doing. They feel like they can crack a rotation and play a little bit more here. That fit makes sense. Maybe it's a younger player that's coming off their freshman season and they know, hey, I might be towards the end of that rotation. Maybe I get shaved out of that rotation, but I'll have a chance to compete for a spot. And if I don't get that spot, I still have plenty of years of eligibility left, whether I want to use that, at Tennessee or somewhere else. So not everyone you pick up's going to be, the flashiest, but yeah, I do get what you're saying. You look at the roster and you stack it up one-to-one compared to some of these SEC teams, and it's not going to be as good as some of those programs.
We're talking with Ryan Sylvia. He covers all things Tennessee athletics for RockyTopInsider.com and mostly covers the Lady Vols, does a great job covering that beat. And Ryan, we've talked a lot about Kim Caldwell and her system. And, it strikes me that there's been a lot of coaches who were quote unquote full court coaches on the men's side of the game. Bruce Pearl comes to mind here. Rick Pitino, Billy Donovan, who adjusted their coaching philosophy and the way they played as their careers progressed and became less reliant on full court pressure and things like that and played more of a half court game.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Caldwell is doubling down on her system. Do you think that, do you take her at her word that we're going to see the pressing, the line changes, all that stuff again? Or do you think that she will be, shall we say, pragmatic in the way she approaches things and be willing to adjust the way she did this year?
I think there'll be tweaks to it, but as far as the system being, hey, you're going to full court press for a good majority of the game, you're going to run it in transition as much as you can, I still think that's what she's going to do. I'll take her word for it, I guess. I've heard nothing that makes me think that their plan is anything otherwise. And as she talked about later in the year, she feels like it was a mistake to back off of it towards the end of last year, and that it kind of created a window for them to not want to do it. And then you saw how the season unraveled. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's what she's going to do. I think you name all those basketball side of things. I think you even look at football at UT. You look at Josh Heupel. The offense he runs right now is night and day different from 21 or 22. And a lot of it's because that 24 season, the offense was pretty terrible and the defense was really good. And then you saw the kind of 180 flip where the defense was obviously really bad last year and the offense was starting to look a lot better again. And I'm curious what that'll look like this year. That's a whole separate conversation. But it's not that Josh Heupel completely changed everything, but there are a lot of key differences. And so I think that's kind of the natural evolution of a lot of coaches is you really like one type of system that's unique, and then you kind of, as you march through the SEC and wins and losses stack up and teams adjust you have to adjust yourself. So I'm curious what those tweaks will be for Kim Caldwell. I don't think it'll be as much of an adjustment as we saw Josh Heupel do last year, where the offense looked completely different. But I do think there's got to be some sort of tweak here and there, even though it is the same system.
You did Vol fans, Lady Vol fans, quite a service here, Sylvia. I saw your piece on RTI.com, the pronunciation guide.
Yeah.
Nice.
For how to say every name on the 26-27 Lady Vols basketball roster. Were any of these ones where you had to do some digging, or did it just come naturally to you?
Man, I mean, so some of them are like Avery Mills. You don't have to dig too deep to figure out how to pronounce that one. But some of them are a little more, they were a little more difficult at the time. And UT did a good job, too, of the players that were signed as of this morning. If it was a tougher name, they had, a pronunciation guide that kind of came with their release of the signing. The one this morning that wasn't signed was Koulibaly, and that one took a little bit of digging, listening, and trying to figure out how to do the phonetics. She ended up signing earlier today, and so I got it pretty close, and I went and adjusted it to exactly how UT listed it. But man, yeah, it's a roster too that it's not just a United States-based roster. You have players from all over the world, and that's something you've seen Rick Barnes do too, where he's kind of dipped into different areas of the world to supplement his roster. So it's definitely a more new age thing than old age thing is to go international to find some talent. But there's going to be, some studying of this list for myself still, I think, to try to get all these names down.
I've been working on this one, but I think we got it actually the other day. Irene Obawado, is that right?
You just got to remember Kid Rock.
Yeah, Obawado.
Obawado. Yeah, okay. It's that simple because it does not look simple at all.
No, when you look at the spelling, it's like I don't even know where to begin, and then you see the kind of phonetic of it, and it's like, okay, this isn't that bad.
It's just like the men are, reportedly pursuing, or they have interest in that transfer from Texas Tech, Luke Bamboye, but his name is spelled BMGBOYE, and there's no place for that G anywhere. You just gotta. I mean,
we've already dealt with the Vescovi, and the Garantant. We're used to it at Tennessee.
Yes, most definitely.
Hey Ryan, last thing for me here on the Lady Vols, the two new assistants. There was a lot of drama there, right, with the departures of Lazio, who ends up at went to LSU, and then he got the head coaching job at UCF, and Robin Tubner leaving. That was rough. What do you think about the transition from those guys? And there are some other goings on, but behind the scenes, I understand there's a new video coordinator that was announced this week. But what do you think about the guy from Florida State and the assistant? Now you talk about a hard name to pronounce. The new assistant from Georgia. That's a mouthful.
Yes.
Yeah, she just goes by Coach East, which makes it easy for a lot of us. But yeah, I like both the hires. You needed someone because when you're looking at Gabe Lasso and Roman Tubner, they were the only two with SEC experience. And now that those hires didn't go as planned, I guess, for Kim Caldwell, but I still think it was really necessary for her to go out and fill those spots with people that had experience playing, SEC or in Bill Ferrara's case, ACC high-level basketball at Florida State. So I like both the hires. They both seem to do a good job on the recruiting trail. Bill Ferrara is more of, I guess, the social media-driven one, so he's getting a lot of credit for the recruiting. But I know Coach East is doing a lot behind the scenes as well. Like, she's been a big factor. Obviously, you look at the two Georgia players that she obviously is going to play a factor in that. You look at Koulibaly, who used to be a commit to Georgia before flipping to Auburn. So there's a relationship there. She's done a lot while also helping coach the Nigerian national team over across the country during all this too, kind of flying back and forth. So far, I've heard nothing but good things on both of those fronts. And Bill Ferrara, too, is someone where Kim joked that him and her used to kind of battle for who's going to have the highest scoring offense in the country. So what's better than just team up and let's combine brains and figure this thing out offensively and get on the same page. So that should be interesting too, where you now do have two people that come in. Like Gabe Lazo at UCF is not going to run the Kim Caldwell system at UCF. Bill Ferrara truly in his heart believes this is the best way to play basketball. He's fully bought in with it. He likes having those high scoring, fast paced offenses. And so that combination should be really interesting.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. I mean, sometimes pictures can be misleading, but when I see some of these posts on social media from the assistants and everything, it feels like everybody, and even Kim, I mean, it just seems like it seems pretty chill. I guess it looks like they're all getting along right out of the gate, which is, I hate to say it, I hate to dumb it down that much, but that's super important right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do it before you tip off the ball, right? But it is a good first step. We'll see what, controversy hits and things can change. But so far, so good.
Yeah.
Well, it could be an interesting offseason and a very interesting season next year for Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols. Ryan, really appreciate the time. Anything else interesting from Lady Vol world that you think our audience would be interested to hear about that maybe Bob and I didn't ask you about?
Man, off the top of my head, no. I mean, we're just kind of putting the bow on the transfer portal stuff, so that's kind of been the main focus. You mentioned the video coordinator. He comes in with plenty of experience, too. Most recently, it's been 9 years at NC State. Brandon Miller, not the Alabama forward, but a different Brandon Miller coming in. So I guess that would be the other big notable thing recently is he comes in with a bunch of experience and is for a video coordinator role that's kind of increasingly more important more recently than not, I think that was a really nice hire. So I guess that'd be the other kind of big news recently.
And it does appear that some of the most vocal of Lady Vols critics on social media have they've retreated for a little while, at least for now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the off. You got to be optimistic in the off season. That's what sports are, right? I mean, I was ready to hang the World Series banner for the Red Sox, and we're the worst team in the MLB right now. So you've got to be optimistic in the off season, and then once the season starts, you kind of adjust accordingly, good or bad.
Well, speaking of that, before we let you out, was the Cora thing, was that a surprise to you, or did you find that a little harsh? What were your thoughts?
It surprised me. Now I'm not, fully tuned in on the red. I watch the games, or I listen more often than not. I listen to the radio call of the games, and I'll see some stuff pop up on social media about. I did not. That blindsided me, and I was, I still don't love it. I feel like Alex Cora is a good man. He'll be wherever he wants to go that has an opening next year. If he wants to coach that early, apparently he already got offered the Phillies job or something before. Not only he'll be right back on his feet. So that was, in my unexpert MLB opinion, it was like, it's an MLB manager. You gave him a roster. He's putting the roster out there. It's kind of built the roster's fault more than the manager's.
Bear, do you have any words of encouragement for our resident Red Sox fan, Ryan Sylvia, before we let him go?
Your stadium's a sewer, and I hope it all burns down, Ryan.
Oh! Wow. Uncalled for.
Let's go Yankees.
I can't. They swept us too, like a week. I can't even
That's
say
what
it.
got
I
him
just have to sit here
fired.
and take it.
They canned him.
Yeah. I mean, I just got to sit here and take it. I can't even say anything.
I mean, they got smoked like a cigarette.
It's not good. It's not good.
You never have to sit there and take it, Ryan. We'll give you some tips, some weak points where you can hurt Bear in future appearances.
The Yankees fans like to do the whole 27 rings thing. Most of them were before Bear was even alive. So I can at least take solace, and we've had 4 since the turn of the century.
Hey, Bear remembers the DiMaggio era fondly.
Thanks for joining us today, Ryan Sylvia. It was great talking to you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Ryan Sylvia
He's gonna help
this afternoon, Fan Run Radio.
Destroy me. I don't understand that.
What was the transition from Joe McCarthy to Yogi Berra like for you, Bear? As a fan, was that rough?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Gabriel thinks I was alive back when John Wooden. I was in diapers when John Wooden was at UCLA.
When did Wooden hang it up? Is that like 80? I thought he made it to like 83 or something.
No, his last year was 74. I was a
wow.
little tiny guy then.
I was in nursery school.
He won national title in his last game against Kentucky, so that was even more satisfying.
The pyramid of success.
Yes.
Thank you, Ryan Sylvia. We got to take a quick time out. You're listening to The Drive on Fan Run Radio, and we will be back to wrap up today's show right after this.
The Drive.
Tony Basil.
Fan Run Radio, the drive continues, wrapping up a Thursday afternoon edition of the show. Got write-in votes for our favorite Knickerbockers. Anthony Mason, R.I.P. I think he passed away a couple years ago.
He did.
And Charles Oakley, who is still alive. Those were a couple of rugged dudes.
Allen Houston. Guess we had a rep.
Yeah, Bernard, we didn't mention.
I don't think, did anybody, I know we talked about Ewing, but nobody mentioned him.
I hated Ewing.
Wow.
He was a good player. I just didn't like him.
Dave DeBuscher.
Yeah, Bill Bradley, Dave DeBuscher.
I just know the names.
Earl Monroe.
Earl the Pearl.
Yeah. Not to be confused with certain DJ.
Stop.
Gee,
Why? I mean,
I just said that's all.
The only reason you would bring up Earl Monroe is so that you could do that.
No.
I mean, you were brought on to raise our profile and our class level. Bob.
I think mission accomplished. Actually,
and you just take shots at a beloved VFL and fat shame on the reg, man.
That's not true, but
it's 100% true.
You believe what you want. That is not true, sir.
Hey, Bear, take us to the Fan Run breaking news desk real quick.
Yes, sir.
Bob?
Britney Spears, per the New York Times, Britney Spears is charged with DUI, driving under the influence involving drugs and alcohol.
Oh, no. Britney.
Officers in California observed the pop star driving fast and erratically. This was back in March. After she was arrested, she checked herself into a treatment facility, but she was just officially charged today.
Well, she is a train wreck of epic proportions, isn't she?
Baby.
What drugs?
I don't know. Let me look. That might take a minute, so I don't know if they'll even give.
If you had to guess, Russ, what are you thinking?
Maybe a little X.
A blow?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't say. Prosecutor, no, it doesn't say.
Huh.
A representative for the pop star called the situation an unfortunate incident that is completely inexcusable, adding that Britney is going to take the right steps and comply with the law, and hopefully this can be the first step in long overdue change that needs to occur in Britney's life.
I mean, every time I've seen her for the past 2 years, I mean, she's dancing with knives. She's got the crazy eyes.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet her.
Yeah.
She'd love to meet you, I'm sure.
I mean, you talk about potential for toxic explosiveness. Bear and Brittany. Power couple.
Make an honest woman out of her.
Power couple. Who knows? Maybe Bear's just what she needs. Settle her down. Ground her. He'd be a lot better influence on her than that Kevin Federline joker. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't enable her. I'd just tell her the way things are. Look, you're kind of acting crazy right now. Need you down here, not up there.
I mean, down here. Never mind. Let's get Joshy Boy in here next. Joshy Boy! Go ahead.
What's up, guys? How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you.
Good. So I want to talk about Josh Heupel at Tennessee. So when is it going to be that he's going to step up and make the playoffs again and make a decent run in the college football playoffs? Because you could argue that Hendon Hooker fell into his lap in 2022 with that magical season. Then next year, you had a solid year of Joe Milton, 9-3 in 2023. 2024, the only reason we made the playoffs was because of Dylan Sampson and that really good defense. So, and I know they're breaking in a new quarterback this season, but when is Jughead going to get back to the playoffs?
I'm not even going to give you the noise. I'm not even.
Why are we calling him Jughead?
That was just ridiculous.
Why is he Jughead?
I don't know.
Isn't a Jughead Marine?
There was Jughead that was in the Archie cartoons too.
Yeah. and who doesn't look at
that's
things
before
like
my
Heupel.
time.
Yeah.
And it's before my time. I know it's before Joshy Boy's time. Is Joshy Boy reading Archie cartoons?
He might be. I love how when anybody that calls and has a call like that, Joshy Boy's not the only one. They always have all those qualifiers to Hooker fell in Heupel's lap, or just because of Dylan Sampson, that really good defense. Like they give him zero credit for being the head coach of that team. We did get blasted by Ohio State, but that was a good team. Went from being a joke to in the playoffs.
What was his question?
How long is it going to be?
How long is it going to be till we
How
have
long? Diddly 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 doo. Was that Sticks?
No, Kansas
player.
That was Kansas?
Point of no return.
To the point of no. Boy, their sound really progressed. This is a long way from Dust in the Wind.
Yeah.
How long until I don't know, man.
I don't know.
How long are we going to give them?
I don't think it's going to be next year. I think we can all safely say that. But
I think 2027 is the year of decisiveness for one Joshua Kenneth Heupel.
I would think that's a make or break year, because whatever happens at the quarterback position, then presumably it's like, okay, now those guys, whoever's QB1 has gotten the reps in. And
second year of Jim Knowles.
Yep.
Second year your strength coach. Like, this is kind of what it's going to be at that point. It feels like we're entering Heupel era 2.0 this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will he stick around long enough, win enough to potentially ever have a Heupel 3.0? Stay tuned to find out. Big thanks to Citizens National Bank for having us out. This has been fantastic. Bob, you ready to go sample some of the fare inside?
I'll take a hot lap around, see what's up.
Thank you, Bear. We will talk to you tomorrow right here on Fan Run Radio.